Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Zooba here. And today I'm talking about, if you can't tell already from what you're seeing, Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. I'll be talking about James Horner's soundtrack music and CD. I'll be talking about the movie itself and my collection of items that I have, like this novel, tie-in novel. And I also have the movie program that you got when you went to the theatrical release in 1984. And it's a nice, very nice booklet here, which has a lot of nice pages in there. There's the cast. Let's see. There's the main cast, and it was just a wonderful program. Anyway, I remember I was living in Redondo Beach at the time of the release in 1984 of Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, and I went to see the movie with my roommate and I think someone else, and we saw it at the Cinerama Dome, the famous Cinerama Dome on Hollywood. Was it Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard? I think it was Hollywood Boulevard where the Cinerama Dome is. Please, in the comments below, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But I think the Cinerama Dome was on Hollywood Boulevard and not Sunset Boulevard, but I could be wrong. I wonder if it's still there. Anyway, Star Trek 3 was the sequel to the third film in the original series cast movies. It came directly after Wrath of Khan, and it was the continuing story of Wrath of Khan. I thought it was a great movie. I loved it. I loved James Horner's music. He did Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and then he continued his themes from that into Star Trek 3. One of my favorite cues on this soundtrack was always the mind meld, that scene where Spock had been gone, and his father came to visit Kirk, and there's a great scene where Kirk allowed Sarek to mind meld with him and to get Spock's thoughts, and the James Horner's underscore for that was so great. I remember I just loved that piece of music. It was such a beautiful scene, the way it was acted, Mark Leonard and William Shatner, and the music when he was connecting with his son through William Shatner. Wonderful, wonderful. But the whole score is just great. And I know that they released another CD, a 2-CD set of Star Trek 3, which I never was able to get, and I waited too long, and then it became too expensive. So I didn't get that. But the music on this GNP Crescendo release is more than sufficient for James Horner lovers of Star Trek, his Star Trek music. Anyway, what else can I tell you about the movie? I love the movie. Let's see. The character of that what's her name? This character here. Boy, Zooba's getting old. The part that Kirstie Alley played in Part 2 in Wrath of Khan. What was her name? Oh, I'm going blank. Anyway, the Vulcan Romulan lady. Whatever her character's name was. I can look it up here. Boy, my brain is really suffering these days. Lieutenant Savick, Robin Curtis. Robin Curtis replaced Kirstie Alley as Lieutenant Savick. And you know who's missing from this photo is he was in the movie Star Trek 3, and then he was killed off. It was the Merritt Buttrick who played Kirk's son. I guess he wasn't in this photo because this photo takes place after he was killed off on Vulcan. So he wasn't there. He wouldn't be in that shot because he was already gone. But it had Robin Curtis, James Doohan as Scotty, Nichelle Nichols as Uhura, DeForest Kelley as McCoy, Dame, what was her name? Dame Edith something, I think. Dame Judith Anderson as the Vulcan priestess, William Shatner as Captain Kirk, George Takei as Sulu, Walter Koenig as Chekhov, and Mark Leonard as Sarek, and Urkel as Urkel. He was not in Star Trek 3. Zooba was not in Star Trek 3. Wasn't even an extra in it. Can you believe that? Anyway, but I did go to see it at the Cinerama Dome. Wonderful movie. I picked up the novelization, and I got all the different novelizations of the first 6. And the movie, this is from my collection. I bought that box set of all the original cast, feature film cast of Star Trek, and I got this in the box set. And this is the Star Trek 3. It has a commentary by Ronald D. Moore and Michael Taylor. I remember I also have and I couldn't find it for this video, I have the 2 DVD set special edition. That has a commentary by Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner talking about that, I believe. I know they did the one for Part 4. But this was Leonard Nimoy's feature film debut as a director, and I thought he did a really well done job. And he also directed Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. I know he directed another movie right before this, maybe. I know he directed 3 Men and a Baby, or 3 Men and a Little Lady. I think it was 3 Men and a Baby. And then he directed another Diane Keaton movie as well. So I don't know which one really came first, but I think they say this was his feature film debut as a director. Great movie. I thought it was great. I thought, Wrath of Khan and this should always be considered one movie that was sort of broken up into 2. Continuing story. They say that The Voyage Home Part 4 is the third of the trilogy of this story, which in some ways is true. They all take place one right after the other. But these 2, Wrath of Khan and this one, was more closely tied together. Anyway, please share your thoughts on this thread of James Horner's music from Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, and the movie itself. I'll play some music below as well. It was the music in Wrath of Khan was really great, but this music was also quite beautiful, and continued themes started in the Wrath of Khan, but were more Spock-oriented. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful James Horner score. So, that's all I have to say about that. Today I was talking about Star Trek 3, The Wrath of Khan, not The Search for Spock, yes, and its music by James Horner and the movie itself. So please share your thoughts on all of that, and Zooba signing out. Thanks for stopping by, and cheers.